Chosen ones, listen to me. You need to hear this and actually let it sink in. You can run, you can hide, you can fight all you want, but at the end of the day, it won't change a thing. It's already done. It's already written. There's no escaping this. No amount of planning, no amount of strategy, no amount of sheer willpower is going to rewrite what's already set in stone. You have to wake up to that truth, because the sooner you do, the sooner you stop living in a fantasy and start walking in reality. The problem with most people is they think they're in control. They think if they just make the right moves, if they hustle hard enough, if they manipulate things just the right way, they can change the outcome. They think they're the ones calling the shots. They're not. You're not. None of us are. And that's the biggest illusion people live under, the belief that they have some kind of ultimate say in how things turn out. It's a hard pill to swallow. It's uncomfortable, because deep down, everyone wants control. Everyone wants to believe that if they just do X, Y, and Z, they can shape their future however they want. But that's a lie. That's an illusion. That's why people stress. That's why they panic. That's why they feel like they're always one step behind. Because they're chasing something they'll never be able to hold on to. And look, I get it. It's scary to let go. It's scary to accept that no matter what you do, the outcome isn't in your hands. It makes you feel powerless, like you're just floating through life with no say in where you end up. But that's not the case. That's not what this is about. This isn't about being powerless. This is about understanding where true power actually comes from. Because real power isn't in controlling the outcome. Real power is in how you respond to what's already set. Real power is in walking with certainty, in knowing that no matter what happens, no matter what roadblocks come your way, the end has already been determined. And if you really get that, if you really let that sink in, you stop being afraid. You stop second-guessing. You stop wasting time trying to fight something that can't be fought. Think about how much energy people waste worrying about things they have no control over. Think about how much time they spend stressing over the unknown, trying to predict the future, trying to avoid what they fear. It's insane. It's exhausting. And it's completely pointless. Because no matter how much they worry, no matter how much they try to fight it, the outcome isn't changing. It's already written. So what are you going to do with that? Are you going to keep resisting? Are you going to keep stressing yourself out over something that's already been decided? Or are you going to wake up and start living differently? Because once you truly accept this, you move differently. You start making decisions based on clarity instead of fear. You start stepping into every moment with a level of confidence that most people will never understand. Most people are stuck because they're scared of the unknown. But for you, there is no unknown. There is no uncertainty. The only uncertainty is in your mind. The only hesitation is in the parts of you that still think you have control. The moment you let that go, the moment you accept that your path is already laid out, you find peace, you find power, you find purpose. And that's the thing. Most people never find their purpose because they're too busy trying to force something that was never meant for them. They're so obsessed with their own plans, their own ideas, their own vision of how life should go, that they completely miss the path that's already been created for them. They're blind to it. They ignore the signs. They keep pushing against the current instead of letting it take them where they're supposed to go. But you don't have to live like that. You don't have to be one of the people who waste their entire lives trying to fight something they'll never win against. You get to be different. You get to walk in the truth. You get to move through life with a kind of certainty that people spend their whole existence searching for. And that's a gift. That's a privilege. But here's the thing. Just because the end is already decided doesn't mean the journey doesn't matter. Just because you're not in control of the outcome doesn't mean you get to check out, sit back and do nothing. It's the opposite. Because you know the end is already set, you get to live with freedom, you get to show up with no fear, you get to put your full energy into the present moment, instead of wasting it worrying about things that are out of your hands. And when you do that, that's when everything changes. That's when life starts to feel different. That's when you start moving through the world with a level of peace and power that people can feel the moment they're in the same room as you. Because you're not walking with hesitation, you're not moving with doubt, you're stepping forward with absolute certainty. Most people never get there. Most people spend their whole lives looking for something that was right in front of them the entire time. They spend their whole existence trying to control a future that was never in their hands to begin with. And because of that, they never actually live. They never experience what it's like to just be fully present. That's not going to be you. That's not the path you're on. Because you know the truth. You understand what's really happening here. And that understanding is what's going to set you apart. That understanding is what's going to allow you to walk through this life with a level of purpose and confidence that most people can only dream of. And yeah, it's going to confuse people. It's going to make them uncomfortable, because when they see someone who isn't panicking, when they see someone who isn't constantly worried, when they see someone who isn't desperate to control every little detail, they don't know what to do with that. They don't understand it. Because they're still caught in the illusion. They're still trapped in the mindset that they have to fight against what's already been written. But that's not your problem. That's not your concern. Your job isn't to convince them. Your job isn't to make them understand. Your job is to walk your path with absolute certainty. Your job is to move with a kind of confidence that doesn't need validation from anyone else. Your job is to fully step into the truth that's been waiting for you this entire time. Because once you do that, once you fully embrace the fact that your end is already decided, once you stop fighting it and start living with complete trust in the process, you become unstoppable. You become fearless. You become someone who doesn't just go through life existing. You go through life fully alive. Listen to me, because this is something you need to hear. Right now, you are wasting time. Time that you don't even realize is slipping away. You are hesitating when you don't need to. You are second-guessing when the decision has already been made. And for what? Fear, doubt, the illusion that you still need to figure everything out before you make a move? You don't. You never did. Because the end is already decided, and every second you spend worrying, overthinking, or doubting is a second you will never get back. Most people live their whole lives paralyzed by fear. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of making the wrong choice. And that fear is exactly what keeps them stuck. It's exactly what stops them from stepping into the path that was already created for them. Because instead of moving forward, they waste their energy running through 100 different scenarios in their heads, trying to predict the future, trying to make sure everything is perfect before they take the first step. But here's the truth: perfection doesn't exist. There is no right moment. There is no scenario where you magically have all the answers before you begin. That's not how this works. That's not how life works. And yet, people keep waiting. They keep holding back. They tell themselves they need more time, more information, more reassurance. But deep down, they know that's just an excuse. They know they're not waiting because they're being strategic. They're waiting because they're scared. They're scared of the unknown. Scared of what happens when they finally commit. But guess what? Whether you're scared or not, whether you hesitate or not, the outcome isn't changing. The end has already been written. So why are you wasting time acting like you have any real say in how this plays out? Why are you hesitating when hesitation won't change a thing? The moment you realize that fear is pointless is the moment everything shifts. Because when you stop letting fear dictate your actions, you start moving differently. You start living with urgency. You start making decisions based on truth instead of fear. You stop asking yourself, what if, and start saying, let's go. Because you understand that the worst thing you could ever do is nothing. The worst thing you could ever do is waste the time you've been given, knowing you'll never get it back. Look around. Look at how many people are trapped in a cycle of fear. They wake up every day thinking about what they want to do, what they should do, what they could do, but they never actually do anything. They spend their entire existence preparing for a moment they'll never take. And then one day it's too late. One day they wake up and realize all the time they spent waiting is gone. All the opportunities they let slip through their fingers will never come back, and they're left with nothing but regret. That's not going to be you. You're not going to be one of those people who spends their life trapped in their own mind, talking themselves out of everything they were meant to do. You don't have that luxury. You don't have the option to sit on the sidelines and watch your life pass you by. You were chosen for something greater. And that means you don't get to hesitate. You don't get to wait. You don't get to waste another second being scared when you already know how this ends. And let's be real. What exactly are you afraid of? Failure? So what? What is failure to someone whose destiny is already decided? What is failure to someone who understands that every step, every mistake, every setback is part of a bigger picture? People act like failure is some kind of final judgment, like it's proof that they're not good enough. But that's a lie. Failure is nothing more than an illusion. A temporary moment that only has power if you let it stop you. But if you keep moving, if you refuse to let it define you, then failure means nothing. It's just another step forward. It's just another part of the journey. Or maybe you're scared of what people will think. Maybe you're worried about judgment, about how others will see you if you make the wrong move. Let me tell you something. Nobody is thinking about you as much as you think they are. Everybody is too busy dealing with their own fears, their own insecurities, their own problems, to spend time worrying about what you're doing. And even if they do judge you, even if they do talk, so what? Are their opinions going to change your destiny? Are their words going to rewrite what's already been decided? No. So why give them power? Why let the fear of what other people think stop you from stepping into what's already meant for you? Most people will never understand this. Most people will keep living their lives trapped by their own doubts, their own hesitation, and that's fine for them, but not for you. You weren't meant to be like everyone else. You weren't meant to play it safe, to live in fear, to wait for the perfect moment that will never come. You were meant to step forward with boldness, with confidence, with absolute certainty, that no matter what happens, you are exactly where you are supposed to be. Because that's the truth. No matter what path you take, no matter what choices you make, you will end up exactly where you are always meant to be. So why are you scared? Why are you hesitating? Why are you still acting like you need to have everything figured out before you move? You don't. You just need to move. You just need to trust. You just need to stop wasting time on fear and doubt and start walking like someone who knows their path is already set. Every second you spend hesitating is a second you will never get back. Every moment you spend doubting yourself is a moment you could have used to step forward. And once that time is gone, it's gone. You don't get to rewind. You don't get to go back and do things differently. That's why you can't afford to wait. That's why you need to start acting like every second matters. Because it does. And let me be clear, this isn't about being reckless. This isn't about making random moves just for the sake of moving. This is about understanding that hesitation is the real enemy. This is about recognizing that every time you second-guess yourself, every time you let fear dictate your actions, you are choosing to waste time that you will never get back. And when you understand that, when you really get that deep in your bones, you stop hesitating. You stop overthinking. You stop waiting for some perfect moment and start living in the only moment that actually exists, right now, because right now is all you have. Right now is the only time you can act, the only time you can move, the only time you can take the steps that will lead you to where you are meant to be. Yesterday is gone. Tomorrow isn't promised. All you have is this moment, and what you choose to do with it is entirely up to you. So what are you going to do? Keep hesitating, keep waiting, keep letting fear and doubt steal the time you will never get back? Or are you going to wake up and start moving? Are you going to start living like someone who actually believes this is real? Because it is. And the moment you stop wasting time on fear and doubt is the moment everything changes. Listen, you need to understand something that most people never figure out in their entire lifetime. You were chosen. That means your existence is not random, your journey is not meaningless, and your struggles are not for nothing. Everything happening to you, everything you've been through, everything you will go through, it's all part of something bigger. You were never meant to live an ordinary life. You were never meant to blend in, to be like everybody else, to settle for what's easy or comfortable. That's why things feel different for you. That's why your path hasn't looked like everyone else's. That's why no matter how much you try to ignore it, deep down you know you were meant for more. But here's the thing. Being chosen doesn't mean life gets easier. It means the opposite. It means you will be tested. It means you will be pushed further than most people. It means you will go through things that others could never handle. And the reason for that? Because you're being prepared. You're being shaped. You're being refined into the person you were always meant to become. That's why the road has been so tough. That's why you've had to walk through pain, rejection, loneliness, and moments that made you question everything. It wasn't to break you. It wasn't to punish you. It was to build you. It was to mold you into someone strong enough to handle the purpose you've been given. Look around. Look at how most people live. They drift through life without direction, without vision, without any real understanding of why they're here. They follow the crowd. They do what's expected. They live for comfort, for security, for the illusion of control. But not you. You've never been able to live that way. You've always felt different. You've always seen things in a way others couldn't. You've always had a feeling deep in your core that you were meant for something more. And that feeling, that knowing, that's not random. That's not your imagination. That's the truth. But with that truth comes responsibility. You don't get to ignore your purpose. You don't get to pretend you're just like everyone else. You don't get to hide from the calling on your life just because it feels heavy, just because it feels like too much. Because this isn't about you. This isn't just about what you want, what you're comfortable with, or what makes sense to you right now. This is bigger than you. The way you live your life, the way you walk your path, the way you handle the challenges thrown your way. It doesn't just affect you. It affects everyone around you. It affects the people watching you, the people looking up to you, the people who will be changed because of what you do. You don't even realize how many people are watching you right now. You don't even see the impact you're already making. There are people who see your journey and find strength in it. There are people who watch the way you move through life and get inspired. There are people who need you to rise up, to step into who you were meant to be, because when you do, it gives them permission to do the same. That's the weight of being chosen. That's the responsibility that comes with the path you're on. And yeah, I know it's heavy. I know there are days when you wish you could just be like everyone else. When you wish you didn't have to carry this. When you wish things were easier. But easy was never part of your story. Comfort was never meant for you. And that's a good thing, because the greatest people, the ones who truly change the world, the ones who leave a legacy, the ones who impact lives in ways they could never imagine, none of them had an easy road. None of them got to where they were by playing it safe, by staying comfortable, by choosing the easy way out. So don't wish for easy. Don't wish for comfort. Wish for strength. Wish for clarity. Wish for the ability to keep going even when it feels like everything is against you. Because the truth is, every challenge you face is shaping you. Every setback is building something in you. Every moment of struggle is preparing you for what's coming next. And what's coming next? It's bigger than you think. It's greater than you expect. You don't even see the full picture yet. You don't even realize how much is ahead of you. But that's okay. You're not supposed to see it all right now. You're just supposed to trust. You're just supposed to keep moving, keep pushing, keep stepping forward, even when you don't understand, even when it doesn't make sense, even when it doesn't make sense, because every step you take is leading you exactly where you need to be. But here's the part that most people miss. You have to show up. You have to step into it fully. You can't halfway step into your purpose. You can't dip your toe in and hope that's enough. You have to go all in. You have to own it. You have to stop running from it. Stop doubting it. Stop letting fear keep you from stepping fully into who you were meant to be, because the world needs you. The world needs the gifts, the perspective, the strength that only you can bring. And I know what you're thinking. Why me? Why do I have to carry this? Why do I have to be the one who goes through all of this? But the better question is, why not you? Why wouldn't you be the one strong enough to handle this? Why wouldn't you be the one chosen to do something great? Why wouldn't you be the one meant to rise above, to lead, to inspire, to change lives just by being exactly who you were meant to be? You can keep fighting it, but deep down you know the truth. Deep down, you know you were never meant to be small. You were never meant to settle. You were never meant to live like everybody else. And the moment you fully embrace that, the moment you stop resisting it, everything changes. The way you carry yourself changes. The way you speak, the way you move, the way you show up in the world. It all shifts. Because when you stop running from your purpose, you start walking in power. You start living with a level of confidence and certainty that most people will never experience. And yeah, people won't always understand it. They won't always get why you move the way you do, why you think the way you do, why you refuse to live like everybody else. But that's not your problem. You don't need their approval. You don't need them to understand. You just need to keep moving. You just need to keep showing up. You just need to keep stepping into the person you were always meant to become. Because you were chosen. You were always chosen. And now it's time to start acting like it. Every moment you have lived has led you here. Every decision, every step, every struggle. It has all been part of something greater than you could ever comprehend. You've spent years wondering why things happened the way they did, questioning the timing, the pain, the losses, the victories. But the reality is, none of it was random. None of it was by chance. It was all written long before you even took your first breath. You see, most people go through life thinking they're in control, believing that they can shape their destiny however they want, that they can force things to happen simply through their will. But you know better. You've seen too much, experienced too much, felt too much, to believe that life is just a series of random events. No, there is something greater at play. There is a force moving through your life, orchestrating things in ways you could never fully understand, and while you may not always see it clearly in the moment, there are times when you look back and realize that everything, even the things that felt like they were breaking you, was actually pushing you exactly where you needed to be. You've had moments where things didn't go the way you expected. You've had doors close in your face, opportunities slip through your fingers, people you thought would be there forever walk away like you meant nothing. And in those moments, it felt unfair. It felt cruel. It felt like maybe you were being punished, like maybe you did something wrong. But now, looking back, you see the truth. If those things hadn't happened, you wouldn't be the person you are today. If those doors had stayed open, you might have walked through the wrong ones. If those people had stayed, they might have held you back from becoming the version of yourself that you were meant to be. And that's the thing. There is no version of your life where the ending is different. There is no alternate path you could have taken that would have led to a different outcome. The finish line was decided before the race even began. You have spent so much time questioning, doubting, wondering if you could have done things differently, but the truth is, you were always going to end up exactly where you were meant to be. The struggles, the victories, the lessons, they were always part of the plan. Most people don't understand this. They live their lives in constant fear, constantly trying to change things that were never in their control to begin with. They stress over what's next, over what might happen, over things that have already been decided. But you don't have to live that way. You don't have to waste your energy fighting a battle that has already been won. Once you truly understand that your path is set, that everything happening is happening exactly as it should, you move differently. You stop worrying about things that don't matter. You stop chasing things that were never meant for you. You stop clinging to people who were never supposed to stay. Instead, you start trusting. You start walking with certainty. You start moving with confidence, knowing that no matter what happens, it's already been written. That doesn't mean you don't take action. That doesn't mean you sit back and do nothing. It means that you stop letting fear dictate your choices. It means that you stop resisting what's meant for you just because it doesn't look the way you expected it to. It means that you accept that sometimes the things that hurt the most are the very things that are shaping you into who you were always meant to be. There's a certain peace that comes with that realization, a certain strength, because once you stop fighting against what is, once you stop resisting the inevitable, you start living in alignment with your purpose. You start embracing the journey instead of questioning it. You stop wasting time trying to change things that were never yours to change, and you start focusing on what truly matters. Becoming the best version of yourself, walking in your purpose, and trusting that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. And yes, there will be moments when it's hard, moments when it feels like everything is falling apart, moments when you wonder if you're strong enough to keep going. But even in those moments, you have to remember, you were built for this. You were chosen for this. There is no version of this story where you don't make it through. There is no version where you fail, where you end up lost, where you don't become exactly who you were always meant to be. So stop doubting, stop questioning, stop wasting time wondering if things could have been different. They couldn't. This is your path. This is your story. Walk it fully, embrace it completely, and trust that everything, even the things that don't make sense right now, is happening exactly the way it was meant to.